Hello there and welcome to another video. Just want to do a quick one discussing some issues surrounding the horizon, which is something that flat earthers are always going on about. And as I'm talking, you can watch a selection of slides of Toronto taken from across Lake Ontario. Now, one way that you can know that you're on the surface of a sphere rather than a flat plane is by observing a vertical structure in the distance as you move away from it. If you were on the surface of a large sphere, you would expect that the vertical structure would start to become obscured by the horizon and start to sink below it. Well, it's exactly what you see here. This is entirely consistent with being on a spherical planet. Now, one of the things flat earthers say is that the buildings should be leaning away from you. Well, no, they shouldn't, not noticeably. These buildings are maybe about 30 miles away. And a building 30 miles away would be leaning at about an angle of about 0.4 degrees away from you. And the buildings should not look like they're leaning away from each other either, because the angles would be far too small. Now, another thing to note about what you're looking at here is that there is no way you can explain this using perspective, assuming that you're on a flat plane. This is just a lie, okay? It's a complete lie that flat earthers have made up. If you were on a completely flat plane, if the sea was totally flat, then you would see the whole of Toronto. It would just be getting smaller and smaller. It wouldn't be sinking. It would only be shrinking. Okay? This has got nothing to do with the vanishing point. The vanishing point is a point in your visual field where a set of parallel lines look like they meet. This has nothing to do with visual limit or any so-called law of perspective or anything like that. If this was on a flat plane, Toronto would just be shrinking, but you would still be seeing all of it. It wouldn't be sinking below a horizon line like this. Okay, there's one thing to get clear. That's a flat earth lie. The only explanation for what you're looking at here is that the sea is curving and that Toronto is sinking below the horizon as you're moving away from it, or because you're a certain distance away from it. Now, another point I want to make about this is this thing that flat earthers keep talking about, the horizon being at eye level. They all say, oh, the horizon, it's always at eye level, it's always at eye level. Well, there's 2 points to make about this. One is, well, provide evidence that that's true. And the second point is, why would you even expect it to be true? And the first point, I've never seen anyone prove the horizon's at eye level. Now, I've actually made a video in which I derive a very simple formula for working out what the angle of depression of the horizon would be at any given height. And it's roughly about 1.3 times the square root of the height in miles. That'll give you the angle of depression of the horizon. So even if you're about a mile above the sea, the horizon's still only about 1.3 degrees below eye level. Now, to show that it actually was, you would have to do a measurement. It wouldn't be obvious to the naked eye that it was. So, I've yet to see a flat earther prove that the horizon's at eye level. And like I said, the second point is, why would you expect it to be at eye level? Because flat earthers, when they see an image like this that you're looking at, what they say is that there's some kind of visual limit. They do agree that you can't see an indefinite distance across the water, and that what you're looking at there, the horizon line is, they claim it's the vanishing point, which is utter nonsense. But they do agree there's some kind of visual limit. They also bizarrely claim that you could see past the horizon with a telescope, which is a complete lie as well, okay? Let's get that clear. That's a lie. They've got no evidence for that. It's complete nonsense. But anyway, they do claim that they do agree there's a visual limit. So the question I would put to them is, why would the horizon be at eye level then? You can't have it both ways. The idea that the horizon would be at eye level on a flat plane is premised on the idea that you're on a flat plane that you can see an infinite distance across, or at least an indefinite distance across, a very long way across it. So you can't have it both ways. You can't argue that the horizon should be eye level and argue that there is a visual limit to how far you can see across a flat plane. You've got to have one or the other. It's completely contradictory. So the next time a flat earther brings up this nonsense about the horizon being at eye level, just ask them to justify it. Or show them an image like this of Toronto. And I can guarantee they'll start bleating on about perspective and vanishing points, and that you can only see a limited distance across a flat plane. Well, bring it up to them. If you can only see a limited distance across a flat plane, then the horizon should not be at eye level. Which one is it? Now, just quickly, this thing about when you start rising up, the horizon stays at eye level. I was listening to a flat earther saying that if you were rising above a sphere, the horizon would stay at the same point and just move down. Well, it wouldn't. It would drop very gradually. Like I said, it drops with the square of the height. So it doesn't stay in the same place and just move down as you move up. It drops down very slowly as you move up. And like I said, I've never seen any evidence that it doesn't do this. You would have to go to a reasonable height where you could see a distance across water and use a proper theodolite to measure the angle of depression of the horizon. But like I said, even according to flat earthers, by their own logic, it shouldn't be at eye level anyway, because they claim that there is a visual limit that happens to be at the exact same distance as would be predicted on a spherical Earth, and moves away from you as you get higher for some bizarre reason that they can never explain, in exactly the same way the horizon would be expected to do on a spherical Earth. The whole thing about the horizon is just a complete flat Earth farce. They haven't got a clue what they're talking about. They're just making things up. And to be honest, if you can look at this set of images of Toronto sinking below the horizon and claim that the Earth is flat, then you're beyond help. You're not interested in evidence, and you're just prepared to make up anything to cling to your infantile fantasy.